Plantar fasciitis is inflammation caused by excessive stretching of the plantar fascia, which is the connective tissue that runs the length of the bottom of your foot connecting your toes to your heels. And the plantar fascia's main job is to absorb shock and support your foot arch. It's known as the spring ligament. The plantar fascia plays a crucial role in helping your foot transition into the propulsion or the push-off phase of your gait cycle. So if you're one of those unfortunate runners or athletes who's struggling with plantar fasciitis, you're most likely gonna feel that pain in your heel, and it's most likely that pain is going to occur in the mornings when you're first waking up and stepping out of bed, or after a really long day spent on your feet. Coach Morgan here to help you figure out where that plantar fasciitis came from and give you a few ways that you can help get over that pain and prevent it from coming back in the future. So what causes plantar fasciitis? Well, a drastic increase in your weekly mileage, weak or tight calves, which is causing your foot to work harder to flex, especially during walking, running, or prolonged standing. An unstable foot or any instability up the connect chain, like your knees or your hips, is going to add to additional stress on that plantar fascia. But before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to Superfeet for sponsoring this video. Later on, I'm going to tell you how Superfeet insoles can help prevent plantar fasciitis and get runners back to doing what they love. So let's get into that video so you can learn all about how to make your feet super happy. So let's first talk about some preventative exercises that you can do for your calf and your feet to make them strong and stable and able to handle that repetitive intensity on those lower muscles in your body. So the first exercise we have up is calf raises. Now I'm going to show you two different ways that you can make this a little bit easier and a little bit harder. But when we want to get set up into this position, we want to make sure we're rolling those shoulders back, staying up nice and tall. The tendency is for always when we're doing something with our feet is to look down at our feet. We're very concentrated down there, but we want to make sure that we are nice and light all the way up through our chain. So I'm going to roll my shoulders back here, rolling back. I'm going to keep my core on nice and tight here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel the weight kind of in my heels, and then I'm going to roll all the way up and push off up onto my toes and come down nice and slow and controlled here. So I'm rolling all the way up through. I don't want to just go up to my tippy toes and then drop back down to my heels, right? This is about going through that full range of motion through those feet here. So rolling up, pushing all the way up onto the tippy toes and rolling back down nice and controlled. You can do this 30 seconds on, 10 to 15 seconds off, kind of shake your feet out in between. If this is the first time you've done anything like this, I really always highly suggest a warm-up before, just because our feet can get a little stiff. So if it's a light jog, maybe just some jumping jacks, running in place just to get those feet warmed up. You can put on shoes as well too for the first time, just to give that foot a little bit more stability. But if you really want to get deeper into those feet, I suggest taking your shoes off like I've got here. Gives me just like that little bit of extra roll through the foot there. You can do 3 to 4 rounds of these calf raises and add them in 3 to 4 times a week, right? They're not gonna leave you sore and feeling super achy. I like to do these while I'm doing the dishes, brushing my teeth, things like that. Add it in, make it feel easy. The other thing that you can do to make this a little bit harder is I'm gonna go to a single leg version of this. So right now I have more weight on each foot here, so it's a little bit trickier. If you need to back up and use something like the wall to kind of stabilize yourself first until you kind of get the hang of it, and then you can bring your hand away. The other thing you can do is, I'm on some bricks here, so I'm trying to find a nice flat surface, is stay on 2 feet, roll up, then take 1 foot away, and slow yourself back down. Trying to maintain a nice stable core here and those shoulders rolled back, so maintain that form all the way through. But like I said, use the wall if you needed to add that extra bit of stability in here. For the next exercise, as you can see, I took my shoe off just to get a little bit more movement in my toes there. You can do that for the calf raises, but if you've not really confident with them, leave your shoes on for just a little extra protection. You're also going to need a band or a towel, something like that, just something that flexes and has a little bit of give. We're gonna be doing toe extensions here. So what I'm gonna do is wrap this band right around the top of my toe. I'm gonna flex it forward. I'm gonna feel that stretch all the way through the calf. And I'm gonna push my toe out to that full extension there. Once again, nice, slow, controlled back. Pushing that out and controlling in. Not only am I strengthening my calf here, but I'm also working on controlling all the little muscles in my toes here and really giving them a good stretch and strengthen at the same time. Woo. So for each of these exercises, I would say 30 seconds on with about 10 to 15 seconds worth of rest for each side. Do that for 3 rounds and try to add this in about 3 to 4 times a week. You know, these exercises aren't super impactful. You're really not gonna be super sore from them. So it's something that you can kind of work on every single day if you really want to and if you're really seeing that pain, but we don't wanna overdo it. So that's why I kind of suggest right around that 3 to 4 day range. I always suggest to my athletes to just add this in when they can. You know, don't feel stressed to kind of find time and pressure to do that. You can do the calf raises while you're brushing your teeth or while you're doing the dishes. You can do these exercises while you're watching Netflix. It doesn't take too much effort. You're really just kind of sitting on the ground and working on that super small area. So it's not gonna feel like it's a big project. So add these exercises in to keep your feet and calves nice and strong, but also stretched out to help prevent plantar fasciitis. All right, it's time to give some love to the people who have plantar fasciitis right now and some things that can help relieve that pain. A lot of the time, tight calves is an area that's going to pull on that plantar fascia and make that pain worse. So here's a great way to loosen them up. I have my roller here, but you can use anything like a broomstick because we do call this broomstick bash. So what I'm gonna do, you'll lose me here for a second, but focus on my calves. I'm gonna take this stick here, I'm gonna put it down, I'm gonna start all the way at the bottom, and I'm gonna sit back on it. And I'm going to go side to side, really digging right in there, right on top of the heel, and I'll kind of move it up and down. I'm gonna slowly kind of go inch by inch, doing the same motion all the way up through when I get to the top of my calves. If you want, you can use that pressure and really breathe back and sit on your calves, trying to relax into it, really helping to break up any tissue in there that's got any knots. Ooh, that one's a burner once it gets up there. But yeah, going through and just going inch by inch here. Sitting into this. Now I would say you can do this for a couple minutes. If it's really way too much pressure, you can just go one leg at a time. But I like rolling my calves that way rather than coming out here and doing it because it feels like a lot of effort. I feel like I'm really having to like struggle to like push into my calves, where this just feels like I can just kind of sit back on it, relax, and just have it add a little bit of pressure, and I'm not as tense up in my shoulders. So do that for 5-7 minutes, as long as it takes you to kind of work your way up, stopping at any place on your calf that has a little bit extra tension in there and that's a little bit more tender. You can always hit those tender points a little bit later if you need to do extra work on those calves. Okay, for this one, we're gonna be using our band again or our towel. What I'm gonna do is lay it on the ground here, and you're gonna lose me, but I've taken my sock off. I got my bare feet here. What I'm gonna do is gonna put my foot right at the end of the towel here, and I'm going to grab my toe and scrunch it and pull that towel towards me. Really work on gripping the ground here. This is helping to strengthen all my toes there, really stretch them out. Just keep gripping that towel and pulling it until you can get all the way through. You can work on that for about 30 seconds or so on each side, but this is really helping to work on flexing and extending just the toes in here. And a lot of time we really forget to work on strengthening our feet and our toes. So this is a really good opportunity to do that, which is going to make a big difference in that overall pain. Now for me, sometimes if I'm doing this for a little too long, my arch will start to cramp up, and that tells me a couple of things. One, I probably needed to warm up before I did that exercise, so going for a light jog, maybe even just some jumping jacks or a little bit of extra stretching on my feet. Or generally, actually what it's telling me is that whenever you cramp up, I'm probably a little low on water for the day, so I make sure to do a little warm up, grab a glass of water, and continue to do that. And I just kind of work on massaging out the inside of my arch here. So those are really just a few exercises that we have. You know, there's tons of different ones out there. Actually, in our app, we have an entire library full of exercises that can help with plantar fasciitis. If you want to check it out, the link is down in the description below. There's an entire program called the Injury Prevention Series where you can specifically look for plantar fasciitis and find out all the best exercise and mobility routines to get you back on track. So how can Superfeet insoles help? Well, their insoles, as you can see here, have a 3D contour design, which helps stabilizes the foot and releases some of the stress and pressure on the plantar fascia. This structured heel cup, as you can see here, helps to position your foot to help reduce the effect of impact forces. So the insoles are going to help redistribute the load and the shock and all that absorption throughout the entire foot rather than just on that painful heel point. This is going to allow for faster healing, and it's going to prevent the issue from even happening in the first place. I really only talked about a few different strength and mobility exercises that you can do for your feet and calves to really improve that overall foot health. So if you're looking for more, go ahead and check out this video I have coming up next, all about making your feet happy and healthy so that you can continue to run pain-free and prevent those injuries from even occurring in the first place. So go ahead and check that out. I will maybe see you guys in the app, and if not, I'll see you guys here on YouTube.